Discovering Chinese dramas in 2018 opened up a whole new world of Asian dramas to me, and I've been hooked ever since. 4 years later, Tea and Soju was born, so that I can extend my love of Chinese dramas and Asian dramas in general to others out there and find a community. So, sit back and let's chat Asian dramas. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tea and Soju C-Drama podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and in this week's episode, we've got another rapid fire review episode. These episodes tend to be non-spoiler, and they are just, short reviews of things that I really enjoyed within a drama, just to give you a taster of what the drama is about and whether you would like to check it out. I actually have two youth dramas to review in this episode today, and one historical mini drama. Now, this is spoiler alert in terms of I really enjoyed all three of these. I don't tend to talk about a lot of dramas that I don't enjoy just because I just don't like to try and influence people to not watch something, because just because it was a drama that didn't necessarily work for me, it might work for somebody else. So I try not to talk about, dramas that I really didn't enjoy. There is a few rare occasions where I really did not like the drama, and I watched it on air with a bunch of friends and they also didn't like the drama. So those I tend to warn people about. But in general, whenever I talk about a drama, it tends to be dramas that I really enjoy, just because I feel like, what's the point of talking about something that I don't really enjoy? So yeah, that is today's episode. How is everybody? I hope everybody's doing all right. I have been feeling really tired lately, and I know what it is. Do you know, in the UK, we've had rain, constant rain for I think now 3 weeks coming up, and it's been horrible because it's just rainy constantly and not much sunlight at all, and I always feel like a little bit down in the dumps when the weather is like this, which in the UK it can be often, but we've been really lucky lately with summers. It just seems like the UK had different plans, and while mainland Europe seems to be unfortunately in a really bad heat wave, the UK seems to be in a permanent state of rain. So there we go. That's how I've been experiencing life in general in the rain. But that does mean that I've been staying inside and just watching a bunch of dramas, because if it's raining, you don't really want to go outside anyways. So yeah, I've been doing a bunch of watching, although I've still been in a little bit of a slump after Hidden Love. Who else is with me? I know there's people out there that are still very much with me on this, but that does mean, so whenever I get into a slump of sorts, I either do two things. I pivot completely and go and watch something completely different to the drama that kind of made me in a slump in the first place, like a complete change of genre. That sometimes work, or I tend to either go for a bunch of youth dramas, because I know I always love those, and they're kind of like my comfort watches, so I tend to go back to youth dramas, or short format dramas. I have been binging a bunch of mini short format dramas, and by that I mean the Chinese ones that are all the episodes together are 3 hours. I tend to watch those when I'm in a slump, because I feel like I can get the whole story very quickly. So yeah, that's been my watching currently obsession right now, it seems. So yeah, that is everything for little updates and whatnot, life updates in general. I hope everybody's doing all right, and if you enjoy the podcast, just little housekeeping and whatnot, if you enjoy the podcast, please rate, subscribe and comment on any of your listening platforms. That really does help to for other listeners to kind of find the podcast and find the community. Speaking of community, if you would like to talk to other people who also love Asian dramas, not just Chinese dramas, but Korean dramas, Japanese dramas. We talk about a variety of Asian dramas in general. There is the Tea and Soju Discord, and that is linked in the description. It's an open invite. Anybody can join. It's free, all of that goodness, and it's just a place, safe spot for people to chat Asian dramas. So that is available there for you. If you'd like to support the podcast, there is the Tea and Soju Patreon. Now, I've been a little bit quiet on there, and there is a reason for that. I have just been really drained lately, and the Patreon has suffered a little bit, so I am still very immensely grateful for all of my patrons over there. And in the time, so August will be like the last little bit of podcast for this season, and then I'll be back with a new season. It won't be a very long break, but I will be taking a little break, and I will be uploading a bunch of stuff over on Patreon in that meantime. So if you'd like to support the podcast, please go and check out over there. I do a lot of mini series reviews that don't make it onto the main podcast. I do all of that on Patreon, as well as movie reviews and things like that. So just general stuff about Asian dramas, more specifically Chinese dramas and Chinese movies, I tend to talk about over on the Patreon. So check that out. And I think that's it. Any of the socials or anything like that, Instagram, TikTok, everything is linked in the description. Come and chat to me anytime. I always say this, but one of my favorite things, and one of the things that really does keep me going when I'm feeling a little bit more, out of motivation or anything like that when it comes to the podcast, is like chatting to you guys. So, because at the end of the day, we all love, not just Chinese dramas, but Asian dramas in general. And although I don't often talk about them, I do watch other dramas, Korean dramas, Japanese dramas. I do tend to dip in and out of those countries as well. So if you're ever wanting to chat to somebody and you don't really have anybody, feel free to drop into my DMs. I'm always more than happy to do that. And that is it. That was a really long ramble. But you guys, by this time, this is like episode, I think this is like, I'm almost in my, 50th episode. At this point, you guys should know what to expect from me. It's, a lot of waffling and whatnot. But it's all, I just like, chatting in general. So there we go. So this week's episode, I will be talking about the Chinese drama When I Fly Towards You, as well as the Chinese drama exclusive Fairytale, and the Chinese drama Butterflied Lovers, which is a title that still, boggles me a little bit, because I didn't think butterflied was a word in general. So I don't know if it's just how it's supposed to be translated, or if, I don't know. But that is the title with a D at the end, Butterflied Lovers. So without further ado, let's jump into the first drama that we're going to talk about today, and that is the drama When I Fly Towards You. So we're just going to start off, as these rapid fire reviews, I tend to just go through the MDL description for them, and then screenwriter, director, the cast, and then I will move on to things that I really what I enjoyed about the drama. But I will always try to keep these mini reviews spoiler free, and if there is a little spoiler, I will give plenty of warning, and it'll just be very, very minor spoilers. I won't talk about anything that's big spoilers in the sense, because that's the point of these mini rapid fire reviews, is for you to get a sense of the drama and decide whether it's something that you want to check out or not, without going into any of those spoilers that would ruin the story for you. So When I Fly Towards You, the synopsis on MDL reads: in the early autumn of 2012, Yukai Middle School welcomes a cheerful transfer student named Su Zazai. On the first day of school, Su Zazai encounters the aloof and cool Zhang Lurang and falls in love with him at first sight. Behind Zhang Lurang's seemingly outstanding academic performance and privileged family background, he is a contradictory person who appears to be quite confident on the outside, yet constantly doubts himself on the inside. Due to the presence of his genius younger brother, Zhang Lurang is constantly compared to him by his mother. For over a decade, Zhang Lurang's life has been like living inside a thick shell. He is introverted and speaks little. He looks composed and polite, but keeps everyone at a distance. However, Zhang Lurang's life changes when he meets the bubbly and forward Su Zazai and joins hands with old and new friends Guran, Guanfang, and Su Zazai's best friend Jiang Jia. They help him understand the meaning of self, and he slowly begins to understand how to plan his life. Zhang Lurang and Su Zazai work together towards their goals while supporting one another as romance begins to bloom throughout their friendship. That is a very long description. A lot of the time, guys, I don't tend to, I really should. I copy and paste, or, I bring up the MDL description and I tend to read straight as I'm recording. I really should just start, reading, the full description before, because that's a really long-winded description. It's basically a story of boy and a girl meets in school, and he is very quiet. He has this very cold facade outside, but he's just kind of a little bit hurt on the inside, and he doesn't really know how to communicate that, or he's just been inside his shelf a lot. And it's the typical, cold male lead, very bubbly female lead, but it's done in a youth genre, and it really does kind of work here. This female lead is so stinking adorable that she has this very contagious smile, and you kind of just want to smile with her, so it really does work. She works brilliantly for this character. But yeah, I've kind of skipped ahead. So the director for this is Mao Deshu. So he has directed other dramas like Let's Meet Now, which is another youth drama that I actually really, really enjoyed. And I believe it is either 12 or 16 episodes. So it is a shorter, I think Let's Meet Now is 12 episodes. And then the next one is called Lovely Us. And that is another really, really good youth drama. And that is 16 episodes. So they are the shorter, youth dramas. So if you want to check out something, I would actually recommend both of those. They are pretty good, youth Chinese dramas in general, and they are on the shorter side. So if that's something you're looking for, then these ones are good choices to go with. And he also directed the drama I Cannot Hug You, which is one that I have watched. It's basically about a vampire and a human, and the vampire is the female and the human is kind of a neat freak, and he has a sort of a problem with that. I watched it a really long time ago. By that, I think I watched it maybe 3.5 years ago. So I don't remember a lot of the details. There is 2 seasons, but they changed the male lead and the female lead for the second season. So I never watched the second season. I only watched the first one. And I found it okay. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it was okay. And then, so the screenwriter for this there is 2 screenwriters, and one is Yuan, and they directed Let's Meet Now. And then Tai Kai Shin also directed Let's Meet Now. So these screenwriters have obviously worked with this director before. They are both, they both did Let's Meet Now. So no wonder I kind of enjoyed this, because I really did enjoy Let's Meet Now as well. So it makes sense. This drama is 24 episodes of 30 minutes. It is a Yoku drama, but it is also available on YouTube and on Viki. And the cast for this is Zhu Yiran as Zhang Larang and Zhang Miao Yi as Su Zazai. So, thoughts on this? I really just adored this main couple. I think they are very, very sweet. Now, I will preface this with saying, there is a little, elephant in the room of sorts. This drama is written, it's based on the same author who did Hidden Love, which has been an absolute huge hit. And I loved both of these dramas. The problem that I've been finding, and I don't even know if I should get into this or not, but the problem that I've been finding is that people like kind of, especially there's been a lot of new people coming into like Chinese dramas in general. And because of Hidden Love and how much they, watched, how much they loved Hidden Love, and they kind of go off that and they see that, When I Fly Towards You is written by the same, or it's based on the books by the same author that did Hidden Love, and they kind of go in, with that in mind, and I feel like it kind of clouds them a little bit because you are constantly comparing it to Hidden Love, and I feel like that's a little bit of a disservice to this drama as a general. They are youth dramas, so they will have, very similar beats in certain places because there are very specific characteristics to like Chinese youth dramas that you will tend to find in a lot of them. But they are still very, very different stories in terms of, they are very different stages in life. This one, for example, for 12 episodes, you are in high school. And that's not going to work for everybody because, that's not everybody's cup of tea. And then the next 12 episodes, you kind of accompany them, into later life. I think that's right. I'm hoping I'm not saying something wrong. I think I might be skipping ahead because I think exclusive Fairytale is the one that's 12-12, really well separated. This one, it spends a lot more, basically I'm just getting convoluted and, all over the place. But basically what I'm trying to say is that for this one, a lot more time is spent in high school, and that's not going to work for everybody. But I also think that you should, if you do want to check this one out and you haven't, and you loved Hidden Love, that same feeling of youth and first love and that, bit of it, yes, that will be very comparable in terms of, how to explain it, in terms of those feelings are still there, but the story is very different. Our female lead characters are very different. Yes, they are both kind of bubbly, but in Hidden Love, Sangzi has but she's a bit more mature than Su Zai is. Su Zai is a lot more innocent and a lot more, kid-like for a lot of the drama because they are quite young. So it's different dramas. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you go in and compare them, you're probably not going to enjoy this one as much. I loved both of them for very different reasons because I judged them independently and as their own. I really find it quite hard to put dramas completely against each other, even within the same genre, just because I feel like they are different stories and it's really hard to compare them. So yeah, that is the preface I wanted to put in on this, just because I feel like, it would be a disservice of me to not mention that. So yeah, other things, that I wrote down that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the fact that there's no love triangles in this drama. The pairings are pretty all set. There is a second couple and, that is it. All the pairings are pretty set in stone. There's no, there is a second male lead, but he has his own love story, so you don't have to be worrying about that, which I absolutely love. I really, really do. I just feel like sometimes it's very refreshing to just have, every couple just kind of has their own story and we don't need to dig into the, plot. We don't need to dig into conflict to drive the story forward, and that's what this drama is about. And actually, even misunderstandings in this story, they were resolved very quickly, which I just adore that about this drama. It's very low angst. It's very very comforting to watch, which for me is one of the things why I love the youth genre in general. so much is that Chinese youth dramas tend to be very comforting watches for me personally. So that's what I crave from these dramas, and that's why it's one of the genres that I go back to when I'm feeling a little bit lower, because I know it's a genre that tends to make me smile. So yeah, I just absolutely love the fact that, you know, misunderstandings were pretty much either non-existent or, you know, they were resolved very, very quickly. In fact, there is so my very minor spoiler ahead, there is basically when Su Zai goes to university, there is like one of her seniors is interested in her, and at first she doesn't pick it up straight away because he's not very outwardly about it. The audience kind of picks up on it, but she's pretty, like, she's only had one relationship her whole life. She's, you know, pretty inexperienced, so she didn't really pick up on it. But when she does pick up on the fact that he's trying to, she's just like, I have a boyfriend. And the other guy's like, great, I'm happy for you. Great, let's remain friends and move forwards. And I'm like, that is so refreshing. Like, she has a girlfriend, she has a boyfriend, she has made that clear, and the other guy's just like, cool, you know, I didn't know, now I know, I won't do anything anymore, I'll respect that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing to see on my screen. I love that scene so much because it feels like a lot of the time, you know, people will say, oh, I have a boyfriend or I have a girlfriend, and they're like, oh, you like, you know, they will doubt it or whatever. And I loved that in this scene. And then, like, her boyfriend does show up. So Zhang Larang does show up, and she's like, you know, there's no reason for him to be jealous. Yes, he's like, oh my, you know, another guy's hitting on my girlfriend, but he was like, it's resolved. Like, there's nothing there. So I really love the fact that misunderstandings are resolved very, very quickly. So that's one I love that. So for me, I do say it took me a couple of episodes to kind of get into it. But next thing I knew, like, I had binged 10 episodes and didn't even realize. They are very easily digestible episodes because I think they're only about 30 minutes. But if you take out, like, you know, beginning credits and ending credits, they're probably more like only 25 minutes per episode. So I love the fact that, you know, I could come home and I literally would sit and just watch a couple of episodes, and that would be like a relaxing thing to do. I love that. I really do love when a drama can just, like, you know, make you chill, because I feel like that's such a special thing for a drama to do when you're, like, stressed out and whatnot, and you can sit down and watch that drama, and it's really comforting and it kind of relaxes you. So that's kind of like what it feels to watch this drama. I also put on here that I really, really enjoyed the side characters in this. The second couple were really funny and chaotic, and as well as Lin Nan. So in this, you have a friendship group, and it is two couples. So our main couple, our second couple, and there is a guy that is also part of this group. And I thought that might be problematic, but actually, no, it works really well. And one of the things that I absolutely adored about this drama is, like, this friendship group, and they have problems at certain stages within their own lives, and it's just like their friends are there to support them unconditionally. And I'm like, this friendship group is like friendship goals, because they are so supportive of each other and they are constantly there for each other, that, you know, I loved watching that. And even later on in the episodes, when they kind of, like, we move away from the high school and them being together every day, you know, as adults now, we know it's sometimes really hard to meet up with friends because life gets in the way and life happens. And they kind of show that in the drama. Like, everybody gets busy and everybody gets doing this, but everybody's so supportive of each other and, you know, of people, like that friendship group following their own dreams individually. And I really, really do adore that about this drama. I feel like it's such a special thing, because that's what you want to see in real life, is like friends supporting each other, even if sometimes they're a little busy to meet up, or, you know, they're in different countries or whatever it may be. So yeah, I feel like I could really relate to that, because I have a lot of my very, very, very close friends back home in Portugal. And, you know, a lot of the time we only see each other a couple of times a year. And, you know, you can still manage to keep those relationships going. And I feel like this drama shows that really well, the difference between like high school friendship and like adult friendship and how that changes. But the friendship doesn't need to go away. It can still be nurtured and kept throughout, you know, life stages. I felt like that was such a beautiful thing to see on screen. So yeah, I really, really did enjoy that aspect of it as well. To me, and then I said other thoughts that I had was that I really loved Lurang, so Zhang Lurang's like little brother. I feel like the story there developed quite nicely. You know, there is a whole story with him and like Zhang Lurang's family, and I feel like that could have been dealt with a little bit better without giving any spoilers away. But overall, I was still pretty happy because they kept it pretty low angst and they still resolved what they needed to resolve. So that I was pretty happy with that. So episode 19 to 24, again, I'm not going to spoil this, but episode 19 to 24 are almost just like catering to fans. That's all I'll say. It is like, you know, hitting all the markers for romance drama and whatnot. So that is all I'll say about those episodes, but I really did love episodes 19 through to 24. Very, very like, what's the word I'm looking for? When they, you know, they cater stuff to fans. I can't remember, but, you know, that's what they did. Like I said, I really loved seeing this male lead and I'm really excited to see him again. Actually, he has another youth drama coming up and I feel like it's a little bit of a heavier youth drama that stars, I think it's Sabrina Zhang, I believe. I may be misquoting. I may be misremembering. But I am very, very excited for that one because that one is rumoured to premiere soon. I think it's rumored to premiere this month in August, and I'm really hoping it is. So the drama that that is upcoming for him is called You Are My Desire, and it stars Sabrina Zhang. So I wasn't misremembering, and so that is rumored to premiere sometime in August. I'm really, really, really hoping that is true because I'm very excited, very, very excited to see him again. I really enjoyed this male lead. I really enjoyed this female lead as well, so much so that actually this leads in very, very nicely to our next drama that we're going to talk about because she's also the female lead in that drama. Just a final wrap up on When I Fly Towards You. I ended up scoring this one a 4 teacups out of 5, which is very, very good. You know, it is still a 9 out of 10 on MDL, so it is a very, very high rated. Actually, you'll find that a lot of my higher rated dramas tend to be youth dramas just because, again, they are very comforting watches to me, and a lot of the time I rate with my heart and not necessarily my head. So yeah, this one is just a very low angst kind of drama. But I will just say, if you go in comparing it to Hidden Love, you're probably not going to enjoy it that much because, again, they are very different stories. So, and also, this one just, you know, it stays in high school a little bit longer. So, you know, just be conscious of that. So that is it. I loved that one, but moving swiftly along to the next one. And the next one is called Exclusive Fairytale. This was, so the MDL description reads as such: a love story revolving around childhood sweethearts, Ling Chao and Xiao Tu, who journey through youth and share experiences in sadness and joy together. Since he was a child, Ling Chao always knew that his mother preferred daughters. Coincidentally, their neighbor's family has a daughter, Xiao Tu, who is the same age as him. Ling Chao eventually became her godbrother. The both of them have grown up competing with each other, so he demands perfection in everything. He is the smartest child in kindergarten with a high IQ, but his outstanding performances are not as good as Xiao Chu in the eyes of his mother. Due to the lack of love from his father, Ling Chao developed a sensitive, independent, and precocious personality. His only friend is Xiao Chu, and only Xiao Chu is in his heart. When he grows up, he understands that he can't do anything without Xiao Chu because he has unexpectedly fallen in love with her, but he has never admitted it. So, this to say, basically they are very much childhood sweethearts. They are neighbours, they live next to each other, and both sets of parents are very, very close to each other. You know, they kind of treat each other as like, you know, brother and sister. They were not raised as brother and sister. Let's make that very clear. They were raised, you know, different houses, very close family friends, but they are not raised as brother and sister in the same house or anything like that, which would make this drama rather creepy. So that is not the case. So let's put that out there before, you know, it starts making not a lot of sense at all. So yeah, they are basically childhood sweethearts, and this is the kind of drama where he definitely falls in love first, and it's very obvious that he does, and she takes a little while longer to realize that she's in love with him as well. So I really enjoyed that, because that's not often the case. Like, a lot of, especially in youth dramas, the female lead tends to fall in love first, and then the male lead kind of follows a little bit later. But for this one, that's not the case at all. That does make a difference. So, the director for this is Gong Yushi, and screenwriter, there are two credited screenwriters, and that's Dong Xiaojing and Ouyang Ji Xiao. And then for cast, we have again Zhang Miao Yi, who is the same female lead as the drama that we just talked about, as Xiao Chu, and Wen Jun Hui, and he is June of 17, the popular K-pop group, and he plays the character Ling Chao. Again, this was kind of like one of those dramas where a lot of people went in and they hadn't really watched Chinese dramas at all, and they went in because June from 17 was in it. You know, I think that's a very valid reason. If you know, your idol is in something, you kind of want to support them. But not knowing raised a lot of questions, and I was getting a load of like videos on my FYP, and I don't know why, because I am definitely not the target audience for this, but I was getting a bunch of videos of like people basically just being a little bit upset that June's voice was dubbed. He was the only one who was dubbed, and I'm assuming it's either of two reasons. One of them is because maybe the Mandarin isn't quite up, his Mandarin isn't quite up to standard to what censorship, board needs it to be for it to pass censorship. Or it might just very well be the case that he is a very busy person and couldn't necessarily do like the post work, of the show in studio to record the audio that they needed. So it could very well be one of those two reasons. So he was indeed dubbed. Again, yes, this wasn't the best dubbing I've seen in Chinese dramas, but then again, it also wasn't the worst. But I can definitely see that if you're someone who's never really watched Chinese dramas, coming in, you might be a little bit shocked. I have spoken about this a bunch of times, but there is a whole plethora of reasons why Chinese dramas, get dubbed. Historical dramas more so, because there is a definite standard of language that needs to be used within those dramas, and line delivery, stuff like that. It's hard to sometimes record audio, and companies are going to look at money, and basically it is much cheaper to bring in a professional voice actor who can do one take and get it right than bring the actor or actress back into the studio in post-production to do those lines again. So a lot of it is down to money. A lot of it is also because there are Chinese as a language doesn't exist. There's Mandarin, and there's a bunch of like dialects or either like sub languages within Mandarin, and all sorts, you know. It's different throughout the whole of China. I was talking to a friend who does speak Mandarin fluently, and she was saying that like some dialects are so thick, or you know, heavy dialects, or so different that it's actually like they can't quite understand the dialects themselves. So there's that, and that does mean that, you know, sometimes the Mandarin just isn't, you know, where it needs to be for it to pass censorship. Unfortunately, censorship is there, and it does need to pass for us to be able to watch it on air. That's just how Chinese entertainment works. And, you know, if, you know, you're gonna watch Chinese dramas, you're gonna get hit with this word over and over again, and that is censorship, because it does affect every single drama that goes on air. So that's, you know, I thought I'd just throw those two things in there, just for anybody who's listening and hasn't really watched Chinese dramas before, but that it is what it is. So yeah, he was dubbed in this drama, and this drama is 24 episodes of 30 minutes. It is an Aichi production, but it is also, I believe, on Viki now, or it's coming soon to Viki, I believe. I watched it on Aichi because, again, Aichi is still one of my favorite platforms in terms of Chinese dramas. I feel like the interface is really good. At least it hasn't failed me yet. And they have some of the best sales. Like, I got like 2 years for like 2 years of Aichi for like £30. So it's like their deals are pretty damn good. So yeah, thoughts. I really loved that. So this is the drama. I completely thought this was When I Fly Towards You, but it isn't. It's about this one. I really love the fact that we have, so it's a 24 episode drama, and we have 12 episodes in high school and 12 episodes in, you know, as adults. Again, if you don't, not as adults, but, you know, university and then into adulthood. Again, if you don't necessarily like, you know, high school kind of dramas, you're probably not going to like a lot of these youth dramas, because they do, a lot of them, not all of them, but most of them will have a pretty heavy high school arc. Again, when we talk about Hidden Love, the only reason that that drama would not work with a heavy, you know, high school arc, and they only had about 6 or 7 episodes, is because the male lead is older, and it's not going to work. They can't tell that story because obviously it's kind of wrong. So they move forward. But for a lot of youth dramas, both male lead and female lead are like in the same class, or, you know, the year above each other, or whatever it may be. So it makes sense for a lot, you know, a lot of the story, not all of it, but some of it, sometimes half of it, sometimes a third of the story, to be told in high school. So, and for me personally, I really enjoy when dramas kind of go from high school into university and then into adulthood, because it feels like you're following that character along their journey. And that's why I love youth dramas so much, because if they're done well, you can see, like, you know, the journey, and you can see the progression of it, and like the progression of these characters, and, you know, I quite love following that journey. So I quite liked, you know, that this one was well spaced out, 12 episodes in high school, 12 episodes like university, and then into adulthood. I really enjoyed, so they do talk about something that's quite interesting, so it's quite funny. So in the show, they never mention the group name 17, but I'm guessing that's who they are. I am not, you know, a carrot. I don't follow 17, but I know a couple of the members. I have friends who are carrots and whatnot, and they kind of educated me a little bit. But basically, the second female lead in this drama, she is like, at the beginning, when she's in high school, she kind of follows June as the member of 17, and it's kind of funny. And then like halfway, she kind of changes from from June into one other member of 17, and it's kind of like that. But the reason why I mention this is because I really, really like the fact that they kind of talk about and touch on things like fan stalkers. So episode 16 is really good about like having our second female lead cheering for her idol, and she kind of like overhears other fans saying they'll chase the car, and she says this line, and yes, this is a minor spoiler, but it's, youth dramas, you kind of know how they're going to go. So I'm hoping this isn't too huge of a spoiler, but if you don't want any spoilers at all, kind of like skip forward 30 seconds or something. So basically she kind of says his stage is for his fans, his life is for himself, and I really, really enjoy that because they do touch on stalkers and what are that, and I feel like that's an important thing to bring to mind, and especially in a drama like this where one of the the male lead is such a big idol within the industry. So I thought that was, really, really interesting. That whole arc. It was kind of like a little nod to June, the, K-pop idol, as opposed to, when Junhui, the, actor in the sense. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I also put down that I liked that sometimes throughout the drama, characters, mainly the female lead and second female lead, like would speak directly into the camera. So they'd be doing like a scene or whatever, and they'd been trying to figure something out, and they would look directly at the camera and kind of like engage with the audience. I feel like sometimes that can feel a little bit awkward or forced when that happens in the drama, but it kind of works really well for this one. So it's one that I quite enjoyed. So yeah, I liked, I'm just trying to figure out if I wrote any more spoilers. I hope not. Yeah, I don't think so. I really kind of liked, so episode 17 has a very fun scene. No, this isn't a major spoiler. It's almost kind of like a satire scene. So although it's a small spoiler, it is a small spoiler, I want to talk about it. And basically our female lead and male lead are now dating, and they go out for lunch and the second female lead and a friend, the friends are trying to say they don't seem to be in a relationship because like of the way they kind of like act with each other. And it's the fact that, so when they kind of like got together, they, they'd been friends and they'd grew up together for a really long time. So they're kind of like trying to find their footing of going from like that stage to being in a relationship. And basically they kind of like proceed to feed each other and whatnot and act all cute. And our main couple is just like, that ain't us, and proceed to act like more them in a sense. And basically what I'm trying to say is I really love that scene because it's a scene that just kind of shows you every couple is different, and what works for one couple doesn't necessarily work for the next. And I feel like that scene showed it really, really beautifully. So yeah, that was the end of the mini spoiler. I won't be saying any more spoilers at all. I really liked the female lead in this one. I feel like she's really just very contagious in terms of like, she smiles and she's very bubbly and she does these characters pretty well. I'd like to see her do something different, but she's at the right age to do these characters for the time being, so I suppose she's probably still got a few more in her. I hadn't really seen, again, I don't follow 17, so I hadn't really seen June in anything before, but I was fairly impressed. I thought he played the character pretty well. I will say the kiss scenes in this drama are really damn good for a youth drama. There's quite a few of them, especially when they get together, and it's kind of like, I really like that they're kind of very open about their communication and whatnot, because they've known each other for such a long time that they are quite comfortable with each other. And yes, there is that initial, I don't know how to explain it, but that initial having to go from growing up together to realizing that you have feelings for each other, and then to to then be in a relationship, it takes them a little while to adjust. And I really enjoyed watching that, actually, because if they're just gone straight from being friends straight into a relationship without having that like adjustment period, I don't think it'd be as convincing as it was. So that is it. That's all my thoughts on exclusive Fairytale. Again, a very nice little watch. I binged it pretty much. I think I binged it like over 2 days, and the reason why I didn't do it all in one day is because I was working. It's one of those dramas that it's very easy to press play on the next episode and just keep watching over and over again. So very much enjoyed it. If you're in the mood for light, this is again very, very low angst, very light, very sweet, childhood sweethearts to, well, they're not sweethearts, they just grew up together in terms of next to each other and whatnot. If you want to go from that into lovers and whatnot, so high school friends into lovers and whatnot, then this is probably a drama you might want to check out. I ended up scoring this one a 3.5 teacups out of 5, which is, a fairly high score, and that equals, I think, an 8 or an 8.5 over on MDL. That's what I ended up scoring it. And again, I probably do overrate these youth dramas. There's not a lot to them in terms of story itself, but I just find them so comforting that I end up just really enjoying them just for that. And that is it. So the next and last drama that we've got is Butterflied Lover. Now, this is a period set almost fantasy, a little bit of fantasy drama. And the story reads, inspired by the romance of Liang Shangbo and Zhu Ying Tai, the story revolves around two lovers who will overcome all obstacles to remain together. Ling Changfang is an honorable general and has been in a passionate marriage with his wife for the past 3 years. However, a strange disturbance hits their city in their 3rd anniversary, and a madman ran wild in the town, attacking innocent citizens violently. Ling Changfang leaves his wife behind to protect the people, but when he returns, finds that his wife has been infected by this phenomenon. He refuses to reveal this as he knows that anyone who turns mad will be killed. He keeps her by his side in secret while trying to revolve the cause of this frightful phenomenon. I feel like that's a pretty, good description. And again, I don't want to go into much more detail because I don't want to give any spoilers on this one. But this was directed by Zhang Qingji. Now, just a little aside, this director has kind of like dubbed himself a little bit for being really good at directing small dramas. And by that I mean, so this one is 22 episodes of 18 minutes. I really do mean short format dramas. So he's done other dramas such as The Killer is Also Romantic, which is one of my favorite short format dramas. If you've watched Butterflied Lovers, you have met the main couple of The Killer is Also Romantic in Butterflied Lovers, because they make a cameo. I believe it's in episode 5, and then later on in the series they make another cameo. And I really, really do love The Killer is Also Romantic. Another noteworthy short format drama that this director has done is A Familiar Stranger. It's another drama that I really enjoyed. And again, these dramas are like very short, so 18 episodes of 10 minutes, 20 episodes of 10 minutes, those sort of lengths. It's dramas that you could probably binge over a weekend. And sometimes I am just in exactly the right mood for that. So this director does really well. And by that, I mean that whatever he directs in terms of these short format ones, they are beautiful to look at. Very, very beautiful. And the thing that stands out to me is basically, minor spoiler ahead, but it is from episode 1 of Butterflied Lovers. So, I will just warn you now, it is a very minor spoiler. But basically, it is this scene where these so-called madman, they're actually women who are infected by a poison, kind of come into the city. And it is, it's the attack that's described in the synopsis. And they are all dressed in these bright red dresses. And all of them have a red umbrella. And it is stunning because it is snowing and it's like the very contrast of the red on white and the white on red. It's almost like blood spilled over the white, and it's just them walking into this beautiful town. It is stunningly directed. Absolutely stunningly directed. I loved that scene, and that just shows the kind of like caliber and director that this director is. So that scene really grabbed my attention straight away from episode 1, and I was like, I'm in. So yeah, so the screenwriter for this is Zhao Lin, and Zhao Lin has done other things such as Provoke, The Killer is Also Romantic, and A Familiar Stranger. So they have worked together on all of these, so I'm not surprised, because again, I really do love I've watched all of these and really do enjoy them. And the cast for this is Rain Lu as Tan Qian Yu, and Zhao Yi Qin as Ling Chang Fang. This is 22 episodes of 18 minutes, and it is available on Viki. It is a Mango TV production, I believe, but don't watch it on Mango TV. Mango TV absolutely sucks with their subtitles, so I would highly suggest to go watch it on Viki. Their subtitles are far superior. And I don't say that often because I'm not usually a big endorser of Viki in general. But in these cases, if it's a Mango TV, I will always go to Viki because Viki subtitles are far superior. So this drama, points that I really loved about this drama. I love the fact that we start off with a happy married couple. Like, that's pretty rare in dramas in general. And, they were very much in love, very happy right from the get-go. And initially I thought, oh, am I going to be able to, because I haven't seen them fall in love, or because I haven't seen them, that whole experience, although the drama does come back to that and it does kind of show you that later, I thought, well, will I like them as a couple straight away? And actually I found that yes I did. I really did like this main couple straight away, even if I hadn't had seen their whole story of how they got together and how they fell in love and all of that. I still really loved all of that right from the get-go. So right from the get-go, we have a happy married couple, and that's rare. But, a lot of the time she's home, he's going out, he's like a lord, and he kind of works in what, at that time, what you kind of equivalent with police and that sort of thing. So, and she stays back and kind of takes care of the home, very typical for that time. So I really did love the main couple. I love the story. I love the fact that it kept me on the edge and kept me guessing, because for a really long time, I didn't know which way the story was going to go in terms of, were they going to give us a happy ending? Were they going to give us a sad ending? What was it going to be, an open ending? And I'm not going to talk about any of that because I don't want to give any spoilers away. And for this one, I am going to try to be very cautious to not give any spoilers away, because with the two previous dramas, they're youth dramas. You know what's going to happen. The beats. You kind of know what's going to happen. But for this one, I really want to try to not give any spoilers at all, because I feel like it's one of those dramas that you just kind of have to watch it yourself, in a sense. So yeah, I'll try to keep spoiler free for this one as much as possible. So yeah, main couple, I really loved it. I actually thought that the clothing in this, so the hanfu and all of that, were done really well. They were very pretty, and again, always very contrasting colors, black on red or black on white, and that sort of thing. So I really did enjoy all of that. Actually, I also really liked the second second couple. So the second couple is basically the male lead's brother-in-law, and he's married to the a princess, and I love the fact that this princess is not spoiled. She's actually, she's very down to earth in terms, she's very bubbly and kind of innocent still, but she absolutely loves our female lead, and I love seeing scenes of them together throughout the whole drama, because I just feel like they worked really well together on screen, but also it's great to see like women being nice to each other in these types of dramas. Sometimes that's not the case, so I really, really did love the fact that they got on so well and loved each other so much, so that was really nice to see. I did enjoy the second couple, although I will admit I wish there was a little bit more of the second couple. I know in these types of dramas there was always like a time restraint because it is a shorter format drama. I think we still got a fair bit from them, but I wish we'd seen a little bit more. Now, I think that's my overall thoughts of this one. I would say definitely try it. I don't want to say much more because I don't want to give any spoilers away for this one. There's a lot of mythical stuff going on in the background of the overarching plot for this drama, in terms of, yes, there is this like poison and it's making people go kind of like mad. It kind of almost turns them into almost like a zombie of sorts. They're trying to find the cure for this, poison. So there is a whole of overarching backstory, but overall it is focused on our main couple. It is, again, stunningly beautifully shot, and I don't want to say too much more because, again, I really don't want to give any spoilers away for this one because you kind of have to watch it and piece the story together yourself, I think. So that is my mini review for Butterflied lovers. I just really wanted to mention it because I feel like it's one that will, because it doesn't have very high budget or very high, but even saying that, it still looks really, really good for this type of production, but it doesn't have any big stars in it at all. It may fly under the radar for a lot of listeners and a lot of viewers out there, so I still very much wanted to give it a shout out. So that is it. That is the 3 dramas I'm going to talk about this week. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Again, if you like the podcast, comment, subscribe, all of those things, all of the housekeeping things. Everything is linked in the description. Let me know if you have watched any of these, or if you've, I've encouraged you to try any, and if so, did you enjoy it? What are your thoughts? Come and chat to me. I always love when you guys do. So I hope life is treating you well in your corner of the world, and I shall see you next week for more Asian drama chatter. Bye. Want to find an Asian drama community? Then join the Tea and Soju Discord server, where we chat everything from C-dramas to K-dramas to J-dramas. To chat with me, check out any of the socials. Please help the podcast by rating, viewing and subscribing wherever you listen to help others find this little corner. Lastly, consider joining Patreon to further support the podcast and receive extra content. All of the links are in the episode description. That's it. This has been another episode of the Tea and Soju C-drama podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and I'll see you next week for more C-drama chatter.